Hey, Joel. Just us? Yep, we're always early. I hear birds. Cesar must be here.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Joel. How's it going?
Bud. Oh,
Almost the end of the, almost the day of the end. The end of the day. Well, sorry to be the person who's stopping you from enjoying the rest of your evening.
oh, you're fun.
Been chilly in the Bay Area the last week or so. I had to put my jacket on because I don't have a very good heating downstairs.
Oh yeah, no, it's cold here.
It is, right?
It's probably 25 tonight, I think.
Wow. All right. Let's wait for more people to call in.
No Dan tonight.
Oh,
He's got a company thing to go to.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he told me. Hi, Ivana. I think you're muted, Ivana.
Hi.
Now I see. Now we hear you. So hopefully your Revit installation works well this time. I was trying to get to help you the other day. I mean, the only thing I can think of when Revit start crashing pretty bad, it's to restart it. But that's gonna impact your progress during the class. So hopefully that doesn't happen today.
Yeah, so I shut down my computer and kept it closed for a while, so we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes today.
And if that happens, I'm happy to share whatever progress file I have at that point and put it in Google Drive so that you can pick it up from wherever we are.
Okay, thank you.
Just let me know. And that applies to everyone. If you're in the middle of the exercise and Revit crashes, I'm happy to provide a copy of the file and wait for by the time you restart. All right, let's see who's here. Hi, Joel. Hey,
Hi.
Heidi. Jacek. I see Casey, Andrea, Erica. Hello, welcome. Ivana, Lisette, Michelle, and Scott. I'm missing a couple of people. Savita is here. But let me start sharing screen. And as usual, don't forget to add your initials in the attendance sheet. We are on class number 8. Today is the 24th. I think Today I'm going to continue a little bit more discussion on finishes and materials. I want to introduce you to the rendering process and cloud rendering out of the box from Revit, and maybe suggest more sophisticated ways of creating a high quality render for a realistic render. And hence, I think ramp, stairs, and railings, I'm going to postpone that topic to the 9th. So I'm just going to fix that here. And this is continuation of renderings. Which means that, you know, that portion will not be addressed later on. Okay, I don't see any changes in the schedule so far. So after this class, we're technically past the midpoint. And the rest of the class, we're just going to focus on creating a set of documents and the documentation phase of a project. All right, and then towards the end, I think we're going to talk about Family Editor. So let's see. For today's class, I created under the Mila project a version of the file called Start6. And I already made a copy of Start7. This is the file I am working on right now, so don't touch it. But this Start6, I'm going to get a link. If you want to start with what you end the last class, that's fine. If you want to pick it up from where I am right now, the link is going to be in the chat panel. All right, and for today, we will finish furnishing the Mila project. I'm going to show you a little bit how to create custom patterns, which I didn't talk about last time. Custom patterns, it's a way to bring and import AutoCAD patterns. If you're familiar with AutoCAD patterns, those are filed with the extension PAT. And create a pattern from scratch is super difficult doing manually. But it's very easy to find and search patterns in the internet. I'm going to show you how we can import a custom pattern into Revit. And then we're going to create a camera and we're going to try to render and then we're going to finish that. So a little recap from last class. So let's do our test. So these questions are all about creating the curtain wall systems. If you missed the class, do your best guess. So go into slido.com and add the code 12868, or you can direct your camera to the QR code and answer via your mobile device. You will be asked to enter your name and email. It's only 6 questions and should be easy for everyone if you pay attention in the class last time. So last class we talked about creating curtain wall panels, curtain walls, and there were basically two main methods of doing it. One that's automatic, another that is more parametric. And the start point for each of those methods, it's a different family type. So I'll make some comments about curtain walls to start the class. And then we move into more interior finishes and materials. Okay, ready to start. Go to the quiz. The 8 people connected. 9 people. Okay, first question. To start a rule-based parametric curtain wall, I should start with this family type. Oops, not this. So out of the box, the Revit template displayed three family types. And let's see. The answer is storefront. Majority of you got it correct. If you start with a family called storefront, then Revit is going to automatically create layouts for you based on a set of rule sets. And these rule sets are driven via the parameters inside the type properties. The curtain wall one, it was this method of creating a gigantic piece of glazing, and then you have to manually subdivide it using curtain grids, and then add mullions and mullion profiles, and swap panel types. And then the zero glazing, I said that you typically apply that to a roof. But it's kind of technically correct because the zero glazing also respond to rule-based parametric, but we didn't talk much about zero glazing. So the right answer is storefront. All right. So here's the leaderboard. This is based on the number of seconds it takes you to respond. All right, next question. Is a curtain wall a system family, or is it a component family? I think the reason I'm seeing 19 users right now is that I probably forgot to clear the list of my previous class, so my apologies. So the leaderboard doesn't make sense here because it's listing my former students as well, so it doesn't matter. Okay, let's see the answer. Correct. A curtain wall, it's a system family, but it's made of components. The panels are components. The mullion profile are components. And so those elements can be loaded from an external source, but as an assemble, it's a system family. What that means that you cannot save it as an external file. You can just copy paste it, or you can create new types inside of the project. All right, question number 3. It's we talk about materials in the last class. And when we were looking at the, when we created a new material, there were thumbnails that display this yellow marker in the lower left corner. What does that indicate? And this warning is both visible in the project material library and in the asset library. Okay, we got almost everyone's answers. Let's chance. Majority of you got it correct. If you see that warning, that means that it's a legacy material. It was created prior Revit 2020, and is a material that does not have physically based properties. If the thumbnail does not have that warning, it's a very good material. It's a PVM, physical based material. But if it has a warning, it has the yellow warning, it's just saying that it doesn't have the new version of textures and physical and reflection properties. It doesn't have anything to do with the texture, and it doesn't have anything about containing appearance properties. Okay, let's go to the next question. In a curtain wall, what is the purpose of this symbol? Oh my God, I don't think I explained that. So let's do this. I'm going to avoid this one. And let me just show it. Let me give you the answer myself. So when we create a curtain wall system, and I'm going to start with the storefront here. Notice how the vertical mullions are intersecting the horizontal mullions. And so this is the result of a type property rule that says that the primary mullions are the interior ones, and then they take a higher priority over the boundary mullions. And so that property, it's accessible in the type properties of the assemble. So when you edit the type properties and look at this join condition, and it's called a vertical grid. What this is saying is that the vertical grid has a higher priority. Give me a second. Somebody's at the door. All right. So what I was saying is that the join condition is the parameter that indicates which of the mullions have priority at Mueller intersections. And so this is a global setting. I can switch, and it's a type property. I can switch this to be the horizontal grid. And when I create another storefront, then the horizontal grids, the border, the horizontal, the vertical and the horizontal are the interiors ones. But if I say the vertical and horizontal grid are continuous, then notice how now the boundaries, the sill, the jambs have higher priority over the intermediate ones. And so if I want to individually override that behavior, I could select one of the mullions and notice how right at the center there's this symbol. And it's a toggle mullion join override. So when I click on this symbol, then it will make the mullion end take priority over the horizontal. If I click it again, it reverted back. And so that is the purpose of that symbol. And I'm sorry, I did not mention that in the last class. So I gave you the answer already. So I'm gonna remove this and you can answer the question now. The purpose of the symbol is to clean up the direction of a mullion. Some of you got it correct already. The pin mullion, it's a different thing. It's a different symbol. It has a symbol. All right, the other one is it's a question about the materials. What of the following? It's a read-only repository, and you cannot change it, delete it, or modify it. So it's a resource that we use to create new materials. I'll give you a hint. All right, last chance. Yes, I got most of you in, and the answer is correct. Most of you got it correct. Asset browser. The material library in the project can be customized. You can add new materials. You can create new materials based on existing ones. A fill pattern, it's you can create custom fill patterns, and that's one of the topics I'm going to cover today. The thermal properties can be customized. The asset browser is a reference library that is common across all Autodesk products. And the asset browser contains appearance, thermal, and physical properties that can be imported into a project, but they cannot be changed. And so the list of elements inside an asset browser are fixed, they are locked. You cannot change it. You can only use it as a reference. All right, I think the last one is as follows. Can you load? What happened here? You can load curtain wall panels from a component library. Is that true or is that false? And I'm talking about curtain wall panels, not curtain wall walls. There are three components into the curtain wall: the grids, the mullions, and the panels. Can I load a curtain wall panel as an RFA? I got most of the responses in. Let's see the right answer. Most of you got it correct. you can load curtain wall panels from the library of components, and you can create your own components. All right, so that is the quiz for today. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to close this. And hopefully you were able to download the file, the Mila file. And here is the where we at right now. I mentioned a couple of comments around the curtain walls. What I want to do now is to show you the process of creating custom fill patterns. And fill patterns, it's a property of a material, and it's displayed the way in which a material is represented in projection view. So it's not the same as a texture. The texture is a JPEG that is applied on the surface of the elements. What I'm going to do now is to switch to wireframe to shade. And the fill pattern that it's associated with the top surface of these concrete floor, that is a fill pattern. And Revit comes with a lot of out-of-the-box fill patterns, and for the most part, they serve a lot of purposes, most of your purposes. But there are going to be times in which you need a custom pattern to reflect a specific type of floor, or a new floor pattern, or a mosaic, or a combination of different tile sizes. And so you can create custom patterns by importing out of the AutoCAD hatch patterns. And so hatch patterns in AutoCAD are so popular nowadays. You can just Google a specific pattern and you can technically download it from anywhere. I'll give you an example. Revit out of the box comes with a limited set of wood grain patterns. And to access the location of the patterns, you go into the Manage tab. You go into the Manage tab, and then go to Additional Settings, and you find Fill Patterns. And fill patterns, there are two types of patterns. You have drafting patterns and model patterns. The drafting patterns are generic representation of a material that is not used to scale. These are just generic representation of material types. A drafting pattern, it's you can call it, it's almost view specific, because the proportion of the distance between the elements, it's let me rephrase. The pattern scales up and down to maintain the integrity of the pattern. An example is concrete. Concrete, you can have details at different scale, and the density of the concrete is going to be the same between different details. And what that means is that, you know, it's a drafting pattern. The pattern, the appearance of the patterns remain exactly the same across different scales. Right, so you can have the same is true with the representation of Earth, for example. You can have sections in 3 or 4 different scales, and Earth is going to have exactly the same proportion from one scale to another. So drafting patterns, they scale up and down in they are maintained the same proportion from one view to another view. And the other type of fill patterns is the one called model patterns. And these are geometrically precise, and they are typically associated with unitized assembles. The difference is on the model patterns, the unitized size is preserved. So a 12-inch tile may appear larger at 1/4 of an inch, and it's going to appear smaller at a 16 of an inch, may not be readable at a certain scale. And what these have in common is that the geometrical size is preserved across different scales. So you're going to find different densities of representation across different sizes. So when we are creating materials, we need to decide, do we want this to be represented as a drafting pattern, or we want to represent it as a model pattern? And the library of the box comes with an extensive list of patterns, but sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes we need to bring additional fill patterns. And there are several add-ons that you can purchase to do that. But the easy way to do this is by searching and looking at patterns in the internet.
I'm just gonna leave.
So on Google, I'm going to look for wood patterns, and may all include the word PAT, because that's the way they are. You can get them. And so there's a lot of things that are called like free wood pattern, and these are all AutoCAD patterns. Another one, this is wood. I know that you can find this stone pattern, and there are all these different images of patterns that you can download for free. Again, be careful from where you download them, but for the most part, like these are block stone hatch patterns. These are specific to this manufacturer. No, this is a generic one. Some of them are for sale. Some of them are for free. I think this particular is for sale. Let me go to all here. These manufacturers usually make them available for free. Like this is this stone manufacturer, and you pick the pattern that you like or you think you're going to use. It downloads a zip file. When you open the zip file, it will contain a texture and image, and will also contain a PAT. Here is the PAT file. And this PAT file, I mean, if you open, I'm going to open this using Notepad. It is it's a bunch of numbers and spaces separated by comma. It's a tabular display of numbers. And just to give you an idea what it is, I think the first number corresponds to an angle of the first line. The second one is the size of printed, the size of a small line. Then it's followed by another, a blank space, and then it's followed by another solid space, followed by another blank space, etc. So it's basically creating a map of line spaces and angles. And to write a pattern from scratch using nothing but the keyboard it's tedious and it's not worth it. So better is to just Google and find the pattern that you want to work for, or if you're working with a specific manufacturer, go to their website and most likely they're going to provide a pattern for you. For the Mila house, I have under the Mila folder, I have created no, sorry, under the spring 2022, there is and under the Mila folder, yeah, under the Mila, I think I put it pattern. I thought I put a pattern here. Maybe not. Here's a folder called patterns. I'm gonna get the link and share with all of you. And so I have downloaded a couple of, I just found those in the internet. I think one is a stone one and the other is a glass pattern. And if you can download those definitions, I'll give you like a minute to do that. I'm gonna get also those on my end here. So all right, that's one example you see on the screen. I think this is a wood, this is a stone one. Okay, so everybody got a hold of this file? All right. The pattern files cannot be just imported directly the way you download them. There's one small change we need to do to make it compatible with Revit. And we need to add a row of characters at the top of this definition. So I'm going to save this file somewhere else so that it doesn't interfere with the Google Drive. I'm going to put this under my documents. So the first line in this definition start with a column character. Everything that has a column inside the hash patterns, it's read only and it doesn't have an impact to the definition. So you can ignore that. In fact, you can delete that. Then the second line has an asterisk. And these asterisks indicate what is the name of the pattern and how the name is going to be brought into Revit. So if you don't like this name, you can change it. In fact, I'm going to edit this and I'm going to call this solid. This is a stone, custom _ stone. You can choose your own name. This was the name that came here was the name of the manufacturer specification. All right, and then the other thing we need to do is add a space right after the name. Make sure you don't delete the comma. The comma is important. This is like doing a little bit of programming. The comma stays where it is, but we add a new row to indicate to Revit whether this pattern is going to be a drafting or a model pattern. Because Revit doesn't have a way to understand in which category this pattern is going to be placed. And so what we need to add to the code is semicolon, a percentage, and then the word type. And you can say this is model. That's it. So it's a semicolon, percentage type, equal model. But if I wanted to do this as a drafting, then I just write drafting instead. It has to be in capital words, drafting. But I know this is a stone, so I'm just gonna make this a model one. And then you save it. File, save. And then this pattern is ready to be used in Revit. So you don't have to do a lot of stuff, only like review the name and review the type. And add the semicolon, percentage, type, equal. So I save this in my documents folder. I'm gonna replace it. And now we're ready to import this into Revit. Any questions so far here? Any time? All right, after I do this, I jump into Revit, and then I go into the additional settings, field pattern. And I'm gonna switch to the model bucket, and I'm gonna create a new pattern, a new field pattern. It's the second icon from the lower left. Don't worry about the name, because the name is gonna be imported from the TXT file. Again, to get to this, you go to the Manage tab, Additional Settings, Field Pattern, then click the Model button and hit the second icon from the lower left. And then rather than doing a basic pattern, I'm going to add a custom pattern. Then I'm going to browse to the location of that PAT file. So I know I put this on the documents, which are here. And Revit only reads, only import file with the extension PAT. Oh, this was not a custom stone. It was a custom wood. This was a custom wood, my bad. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And sometimes patterns are created in the metric system. And if that's the case, then you have to multiply this by 25.4 in the import scale. So if the preview doesn't yield anything, it's most likely because the pattern is in metric. And so you need to add an import scale. Here you can also play with this, like you can duplicate the size of the preview. I'm replacing this with 2 point. It says it's too large, so it doesn't like it. So I'm just gonna do 1. All right, I stay with 1, and notice how now that pattern, it's available to me in the list of model field patterns. Is it okay? And if I want my interior wood finishes in Mila to have that wood pattern, I could definitely apply it to the wall definition. So if you recall that when I'm looking at the wall pattern, going to the structure, for the exterior, we have a wood slat. For interiors, we will plywood sheeting. And so what we need to do is to edit the plywood and ask Revit to display under the appearance, under the graphic tab, display of a surface pattern associated with a model pattern called custom. And there you go. I have a new wood pattern brought into Revit from the internet. And now that pattern is going to be associated with the plywood, and the plywood is going to display it everywhere inside the project. I'm going to hide this category. Hide in view elements. And you can see now how the new wood pattern, it's visible everywhere. I could also change the scale and make it more granular if needed. But that's the way you brought new patterns inside Revit.
I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah.
When I browse and I pick the pattern and I try to upload to Revit, it says no drafting type patterns found. But I did, the steps I added the type model.
Did you save it by chance?
Yes, I did.
You save it? Okay. So when you open it, you have the column type equal model. Semicolon, sorry. Semicolon type equal. Here is
Percentage.
just
semi-
one percentage.
1%. So
Here is. The semicolon percentage type equal model.
Yeah.
And you kept this comma, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so when to bring it in, you go into fill patterns, make sure you pick a model first. If you don't pick this, it's going to try to make it drafting.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, pick it model and then create a new fill pattern. And here, go to custom, load, browse it.
Yes, it worked.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Anybody else had a hiccup or?
Do
All right.
you have to change your view setting to see the pattern?
How do you see the pattern?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it online.
But were you able to bring it here and go into
Yeah.
and then does it appear here?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so the question is how you apply it to the
I'm pretty sure I applied it to the wall, the interior face, the plywood.
Yeah, okay. So what we need to do is just modify the material. So you go to the manage tab, go to the materials, and then pick up the plywood sheeting. And then under the graphic tab, add a surface foreground pattern. And the plywood sheeting is applied to the exterior face of the wall, so it should update automatically.
And where do you adjust the scale of the pattern?
If the pattern is too big, let me see.
Do you have to go all the way back to?
No, you have to fill pattern here and select the pattern and the model pattern and edit the fill pattern and change the import scale here. Let's say I want to do this 0.85. And that should make it a little denser. And you see how it make it. I'm going to try it to 0.5 and see what it looks like. So you go to fill pattern, model, custom stone, edit. Edit is the pencil. I'm gonna do 0.5. Yeah, it makes it more denser. You can go to like 0.25, but there's gonna be a point in which the pattern might fail. So there's a minimum allowable, and that is driven by the max. So here is a rule that everybody should know. Revit cannot draw lines smaller than 0.025. And so and that's true for patterns and anything like lines. You're doing lines, you won't be able to do anything, draw anything smaller than that. And so if the pattern is less than that, if the segments are less than that via the scale, they won't be represented. They're going to come back. They're going to come back blank. Okay, so patterns are also important because that is the way in which we represent fire ratings. It's one of the methods of using fire ratings. So let me show you that. Also in the Google Drive, I have a folder called fire rating. I'm going to share this with you as well. Share. If you have already downloaded the files, that you should have them there. Okay, these are fire ratings. And so this folder has 3 patterns. And what this is basically lines and a dot, lines and 2 dots, and lines and 3 dots. It's a hatch pattern as well. And we can use patterns to represent in a floor plan whether a partition has a specific type of rating. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to go to the floor plan here. And I don't have a good wall here because all these are, but let's pick the exterior walls. And let's just pretend that that is a separation wall. And so what we need to do is import those patterns the same way we did before. Those need to be, those need to be drafting patterns because the spacing needs to remain the same. Or let me check. I think, no, these are drafting. Yeah, these are drafting. And so what we do is go to the, we're going to import them. So we go to the Manage tab, Additional Settings, Fill Patterns, and pick the drafting dot, and we're going to create a new one. Don't worry about the name. The name is going to be filled out by the pattern definition. Then you switch this to custom, then go to browse and navigate to that folder location that I just shared with you guys. I think I can go directly to the Google Drive here. My drive. And fire rating. So I'm going to do the 2 hours. Hit open. And there you go. So it's just like lines with a space, and another line with a space, another line with space. So it looks like a dash dot dot. And this is going to be placed inside of the wall as a cut pattern. And the other thing we want to do is make sure that the orientation is aligned with the element. Because if it's oriented to the view, that means that the hatch is always going to display in one direction. And direction associated with the view. What we want is align it with the element. And what that means is that the walls can have different directions, and the pattern is going to be aligned with the element. So align with element, and then hit OK. And let's bring the 3 hours as well, since we are here. So we create another fill pattern. Make sure it's drafting. So we do custom, browse, and now I'm going to do the 1 hour. This only has like one dot. And again, orientation in the host layers, align with element. And then hit OK. And again, this could live in your library. If you have a template, most likely you have these patterns already with you. If you don't have them, then I'm showing you how to do that. And the best will be to leave this living in the template, so you don't have to upload these patterns every time you start a drawing. Avoid the users to go through this process by keeping your definitions inside the template. So these are the patterns. Then I hit OK. And now to apply a pattern inside Revit, I could select the wall. Again, the patterns, it's a property of the material. And so it boils down to the material type. One strategy, I mean, I think when I switch the view display, no, the detail to coarse, remember how this turns into black? This property was driven by a type property of a wall. So when you edit the type, there is a coarse scale fill pattern. And we could do the same for, instead of having a fill color using a solid fill, I could just select this and select the 2 hour. Now everything that all those walls are now rated. And so the key is for your life safety drawings, display the detail level to coarse in order to display that material. And if you look at, it will expand across all the interior finishes, all the interior layers. And because in the fill pattern definition, I say to align with the object, there are changes in the rotation of a wall and the pattern remain aligned. So for simple commercial, this would work. For large commercial, there are a lot of problems with this hatch method, because in addition to hatches, you also need to define, whether something is smoke partition, or if it's full height, or if it's in my previous company, they have a different designation, whether something was a fire separation, or if something was a occupancy separation, or whether something was a firewall. And so for all those three, they had a different color and a different hatch. And so they move away from using hatches, and instead they created line types. And then these line types were applied on top of the partitions, and they will have symbols representing S, that is, well, you'll know, you're architects, so you know how to create, what will be the best way to represent partitions. But the method of the hatches, it's a popular one and a very simple one. So up to you if you want to use this method or not. Any question?
Yeah, for some reason, my lines are not reading as black. There's like something on top of it.
So make sure you are on wireframe, yes. And also make sure you are on course view.
Yeah, I'm on wireframe and course.
So you're still not seeing it?
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's okay because I'm seeing. I think I might have made it white instead of black. Maybe that's why.
Okay. If the property is part of the course field pattern, then these only display if the view is coarse. So that's why it's called coarse. Only when the view is coarse, this kicks in.
Yeah, I changed the color to white because I thought that there was an additional layer there. Sorry.
Oh, I see. All right, 6:30. I'm going to do this step just because I like this is like more artistic representation. So, but there you go. That's how we create fire ratings using patterns. Any question about patterns? You know what's difference between graphing and model? That's going to be in the test a week from today. And then, cool. All right, let's continue. Let's finish the interiors of these, and then let's create some 3D views, and then we'll render it, and then we'll finish that. So what we're gonna do now, it's focus on the kitchen. There's custom cabinet. There are some custom furniture. If I look at at my files of the Miller house, some interior shots. It's very Nordic, very modern, European, and it looks like this is a custom-made living room. Everything is exposed plywood, pine. There is this section of the house that looks more like a concrete wall. I'm going to show you how we can apply a different material to an existing surface. I think this is a window. No, this is this is a glass panel that acts as a header for a door that is recessed into the surface. But we're going to try to do the kitchen now, and use some wall cabinets, base cabinets. I'm going to show you how to tag them. Let's see if I can get another. These are other views into the back of the house. And this is we're not going to have time to do this, but this could be when we talk about creating custom content, creating custom families. I'm gonna try to show you how to create a custom shelf. All right, so in the Mila folder of the Google Drive, I provided a folder called families. And these have everything that is missing in the house. I show you how you can search for custom components, either out of the box or using resources outside Autodesk. So I'm going to share this folder again. Share with Google Drive. Copy link, and this is the library. And I'm going to use that folder to bring the missing components. And we could do, or you know, that there was some closets with bifold doors. So you go to the insert, load family, and go to that folder. I just shared with you guys the family folder, and there's a door already called bifold. It's 3 foot by 7 with a wood finish. What I did is search it online. I maybe changed some of the type properties to get it the right size. But if you want, just bring everything in a single spot. You don't have to. We don't have to load one family at a time. The way you do is there's a door, there's a water closet, there's a plan representation of a closet, and then an oven, the countertop, the base cabinets, the upper cabinets, a cooktop, tall cabinet. And so rather than doing one by one, you can just navigate to the folder, select the first family, and then hit the shift key to select all the families, and then hit open. Another way to do this, and it will be easier, is if you open the folder and just select the files and drag them and drop them. That's another way to bring families into the project. You select everything, drag it, and then drag the 14 families into the project. It's exactly the same thing. But I'm already in the middle of loading the families. I hit open, and these families are going to be available in the project browser. So let's focus on the kitchen. Now let's do the closets that we're missing. So under the families in the project browser, if you scroll down all the way down to the family tree, and then go to the doors, you're going to see the door bifold. There's a type called 45. This is probably, I don't know, this looks like Italian or Portuguese. I don't know. Grouse is I don't know. That's not Spanish. So grab the
Yes, Portuguese, yes.
Portuguese, right? Okay. So you grab the 45 gross and just drag it and then drop it. And then I'm going to do the same for there's another closet here. This closet is larger. So we could change the type properties or create a new type. You know how to do this. The size of these doors is 4:6. So if I want a new type based on an existing one, edit the type, duplicate, and change parameter values. So I'm going to edit the type. I'm going to duplicate the 45 gross, call it 2, and then change the width to 4:6. and it's all parametric. There you go. Maybe and this closet is smaller, obviously, and I think this is another closet for the kids in the back, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, so again, quickly, what I did is to create a new type, edit the type, duplicate, rename. I just give it a suffix of 2, and then I changed the width to 4'6" to create a new type. All right, now let's place the kitchen cabinets, and kitchen cabinets is best to work them in interior elevations. So I'm going to create a section looking towards the west, and I use that as a background to place the cabinetry. So you go to the view tab and create a section. The first click brings the head, the second click brings the tail, and I need to flip it because right now the direction is looking towards the east. You can flip the direction of a section by clicking the flip control. It's this icon with a double arrow, and open the view. To open the view, you can directly click on the section arrow, not the section circle, the section arrow, and that's going to open the elevation for you. Oh, that pattern is hideous. I thought it was going to be, it's going to look nicer, but we can switch to shaded. Yeah, I'm not happy with that pattern. But let's work with that. Okay, so the kitchen is going to be in against this wall. I think this wall is 8 foot high, and we're going to put a couple of cabinets, a couple of upper cabinets, and let's review the. Let's go into the furniture, no, into the casework. So in the project browser, look for the casework category, and then you're gonna find the base cabinet with 2 doors, the base cabinet with a single door, the countertop, the upper cabinet, and give me a second here. I'm going to open. I have I don't recall the sizes. I think the total width of this is 72. I measure this. This is about 7 feet. So I think I have 3 cabinets. And I have to play with, I think it was 24 and 3 and 2. So let's start with the upper cabinets. So I think the first one was a 24. Just drag it. These are wall-based cabinets. And so what that means, they need a wall to lean against. 24, and then I think there was a 36 here. And then we have the tall cabinet, which was a 30, I believe, a 30 inches tall cabinet. Okay, this is not wall base, so I cannot place it in elevation. I need to place it in a floor plan. So let's see if I can place the base cabinets, and they're gonna have the same width. So we have a 24, or I can make this 30, I believe. You can swap family types. This is 30 and 36. And then for the base cabinet, there's a single door 24. Also, I need to place that in the elevation. So base cabinets and tall cabinets, I have to place them in a floor plan. Now, while I'm here, let's check the elevation. So this elevation from level measure the distance between the floor and the bottom face. And so right now, I mean, we can keep it at 4 feet. Well, 4 feet is too small. Maybe we do 5 feet. Or 4'6". It doesn't matter. Now let's go to the floor plan. And in the floor plan, let's place the cabinets. Now check this out. I placed those upper cabinets, and notice how Revit displayed them in a dash line weight. This is a good time to talk about view range. So very quickly, the view range is a system of work planes that determine the vertical visibility of objects in a floor plan. I think the easiest to understand is the cut plane. The cut plane is a datum elevation above the finished floor in which all the floor plan is sectioned, and it determines the line weights of the cut. It determines the cut line weights across a building. So the cut plane is sectioning an entire floor plan and applying cut plane line weights at that height. And the view range is a property of the view. And within the view range, we have primary views, and we have something called the view depth. For the most part, 90% of the times, the view depth is always 0. So what that means is that there's no offset. Now within the primary range, there are 2 regions. The region between the bottom plane and the cut plane display line weights of all categories by category. So things are represented in projection line weights as object styles associated with the category. And then there is a top plane, which is also measured from the bottom plane, which it's called the upper range. And the upper range, it's only relevant for elements that are part of the window category, casework category, or the generic model category. And if any element is placed between the cut plane and the top plane, elements of these categories are going to be displayed in line weight, in a dash line weight. And so the reason why in my floor plan in Revit, these upper cabinets display in dash is because they are part of the casework category and they are placed in the upper region. If the cabinet intersects the cut plane, then it's going to display as a projection. Does that make sense? And so when this is useful, like if you want to display a clerestory window in a floor plan, maybe you increase the top distance to a height that includes that clerestory. Or if you are creating a canopy, an exterior canopy, and you want to display the dash line in the floor plan of that canopy, maybe you create that canopy as part of a generic model category. And so it only works with these three categories and nothing else. Everything else is not going to be displayed. And now in the view depth, it's relevant only for structural categories and structural walls. If a structural wall or a structural element falls within the view depth, then those elements are going to be displayed as hidden. And when this is relevant, if you want to display, for example, the boundaries of a structural foundation in a floor plan, or if you want to see the dash line of an underground pit or the dash line of an underground tank that is made with structural walls, then it's good to include that view depth so that you have that dash line representation. Does that make sense? What view range is? And if I switch to Revit, view range, it's a property of the view. So in the property window, if you scroll down the properties, you're going to find the view range in the under the extent group. And you can access and edit the values of the default values. More often than not, you don't have to, but sometimes, like if you're creating a residential and the residential has a double height space or a triple height space, maybe you can change the primary range to a level below or another level that would be listed here. In this case, I only have one level. You can also set this to unlimited, in which case the bottom plane doesn't have any boundary. It's going to display everything below the bottom plane. There are categories that will never be cut, and furniture is one of those categories. So no matter where the cut plane falls in a furniture layout, they're always going to be displayed in projection view. So this is a stool, and if the cut plane falls in different elevations, they're always going to be represented in floor plan. And when you are in Revit and you look at the visibility graphic, VG, notice how there are a lot of categories that are grayed out, like they don't have cut representation. So everything that is grayed out in the visibility graphic are uncuttable categories. And so example of these are the furniture. Furniture cannot be cut. And then casework. Casework can be cut. So if the cut plane falls in the middle of a casework, it is going to show, it's going to be cuttable. Okay, another word about view range. The view range, this is how it works for floor plans, and this is how it works for ceilings. And in ceiling conditions, the view range inverts, And so the red line is the cut plane in a ceiling location. So there's a distance between the floor plane and the cut plane. Then we have line number 2 is the primary range, and between 2 and 3 is the view depth. So yeah, region 5 is the view depth, and region 4 is the primary range. So elements located within the cut plane and the primary range, they will be displaying projection, and then the same rules. If you want to extend the view to a different level, then you increase the view depth. So for the most part, we don't have an additional view depth, so we keep that at 0. So line number 2 and 3 will always be at the same plane. But if you want to see way above and beyond a ceiling, then you can include a new distance, or you can set that to unlimited, and then everything is going to be displayed. Okay, any questions on rearrange? How that work? Okay, so let's continue with that was a long explanation to the fact that upper cabinets display in dash line. Let's place and I can see now that this cabinet needs to be a little smaller. So I'm going to revert it to 24 inches. I think I changed this to 30. This is the 36 and 24. Yeah. You can just select the cabinet and swap it to 24 using the type selector. Let's place the lower cabinet. Scroll down to the cabinet, to the casework, and the base cabinet single door, we're going to bring the 24 inches, drag it and drop it. Just drag it. And then notice that the cursor, you can tell what is the front and what is the back. Usually the cursor is associated to the back of the casework. So what this is happening, what this is telling me is that the front door is in the south side. So I need to rotate this using the space bar, and then place the cabinet against the wall. And just to verify, I'm going to switch this to the section, and you can see that I was right. That is the right location of the cabinet. All right, so now I'm going to do the same for the 36 double door, 2 drawers. This is 36 one, cabinet double door. Select the type, drag it, and before you drop it, click the space bar, and then the cursor is associated with the back of the cabinet. Place it, and you're going to notice that Revit like to snap it. You're almost going to feel it that snaps, and then place it. And then the tall cabinet. So the tall cabinet is I'm going to think it's 24. Drag it again the space bar and place it. Let's go to the now let's go to the let's go to my 3D view and see if things are working as I expected. You can see there that, yeah, the cabinets are the way. There's something about the materials. The material, it's a type property. So if I want to change that, I can change it right here. Cabinet material, door material, and handle material, and finish. If I compare it with the 24 inches plywood sheeting, it's the material. So you can just copy, Control C, material definition, then go into the other one and edit the type properties. Control V, Control V. And now I have the cabinet as it needs to be. The same with the upper cabinet. I know that they are going to be plywood. So you selected, edit the type, and then cabinet material, plywood sheeting, apply, okay. And the same with the other one, edit type. You can also work in elevation. I'm doing this in 3D. But I can also open the section and do it there. The section I created is called section 2. And probably easier to do it in elevation. Select the cabinet, edit the type, and change this to plywood sheeting. Control C, Control B. Okay, let's place the countertop. The countertop, it's best also to place it in plan, but the countertop is a little tricky because I need 2 views. I definitely need the section and I need the floor plan. So I'm going to close the 3D here and I'm going to tile this WT. So on one side I have the floor plan and the other side I have the elevation. And so the countertop, it's also part of the casework, and there is countertop 24-inch in depth. Now this is a special family. It's a stretchable family, and you're going to notice when I drag and drop it, it has a default height. And then I have the ability to define what is the length of the countertop. So browse the casework countertop, the 24 inches, drag it. Again, it comes with a backsplash. That double line that you see there is the backsplash. So I have to hit the space bar and then place, I'm going to place it at the corner of the counter and then escape. Now, this is a flexible countertop. What that means is that you can stretch it in the X direction or the Y direction by selecting this handle. And I'm going to stop it to the tall cabinet. There you go. You see in elevation, it automatically likes to be placed on top of the counters. Yep. And then finally, I will bring the cooktop. Cooktop is part of the furniture. Oh, it's not here. Let me find it. I want to search it. Search cooktop. It's under specialty equipment. Specialty equipment cooktop is a 22 by 20 square. This is a work plane based family, so it's going to try to snap on top of a surface. or it may be brought into the floor and then I have to bring it up. So under special equipment, drag and drop the range. You can again space bars to rotate it. Yeah, and it goes right on top of it. Okay, we can place the table and the chairs. There's a table here as well on the furniture. Desk. Maybe not. Oh, I did not add it. Search table. No, I didn't bring it. Oh well. Let's take care of this later. But I think we finished the kitchen elevation. And if I want to take care of the opposite one, this the case where that is across the range, I could just mirror this, and the mirror could be as easy as make sure you don't select element by face. I have this enabled, but then I do a window selection of everything in elevation. So I select those elements in an elevation, and then I mirror them because they're going to be, oh, I don't need the upper cabinet, just the bottom one. I'm going to select the base cabinets and the counter and use the mirror tool using the draw tool. And it's going to make a copy. Yeah, let me try this again. It's selecting the I want to select the counter and the base cabinet. That's all I need. So it's 3 elements, and I selected in plan. And then mirror, draw axis, and I'm going to select. I'm going to draw an axis. I'm just eyeballing. And then I'm going to make a copy of the base cabinet to go in the there's no tall cabinet there, and then stretch the counter. And then on 3D view, I'm going to enable the section box to display the interior. There you go. Here's my kitchen cabinet with the counter. I could do more stuff, you can start putting people and more entourage and plants and planters, etc. I'm looking at the clock and I'm running out of time. But I do want to show you guys how we can create a rendering, good quality rendering, the render out of the box and then the render on the cloud. So any question here? This is a little easy, right? It's just about finding the right components, applying the right materials, selecting the right size. A lot of these materials I search online. You can create your own components. Towards the end of the class, I'm going to show you how you can create a new custom furniture. But when it comes to residential, there's a lot of custom components that need to happen. And I think the last two classes are going to be important, especially if you're going to be involved in creating custom models, custom information for your projects. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to switch to the floor plan and close the rest of the views, because what I'm going to do now is show you how we can create a render and create a camera. And so when we create renders, the process involves three things. First, you need to select the light source or define a light source. The light source could be internal, and we need to place luminaries. The luminaries need to have photogrammics associated with that. And then you need to connect the project with a site location in the world so that we can get an accurate reading from the sun. So I'm going to show you how to do that. That's the first step. Maybe I should write this down. Lights, either natural, either luminaries plus the sun. The second step is to have the right textures. And remember, I told you that we should try always to use physically based materials. So those are the texture properties in the asset browser that do not have the warning. So these have the best qualities and the best properties and the best sources of light reflection. And then third, we need to get the right camera view. And we need to select the location of the observer, the location of the end direction. And then we apply, and then we render. All right, so I don't have light fixtures for this project. We haven't talked about ceilings. So, and I don't have time to do that. So we're going to do just a render using the natural sun. And so this project is in Norway. So we are going to geolocate the project to longitude and a latitude location in Norway. So again, if you want to follow me, go to the floor plan level 1. And then open the Manage tab. And under the project location, open the button called Location. And so this is the location and site dialog box. And you can search, you can define a location by city, or you can define it by a mapping service. Autodesk has an agreement with Bing Maps and to search for a specific address. And I used to know this. Let's just say this is in Oslo. Oslo, Norway. Yeah, and you see, give you the choice there, Oslo, Norway. You can also, I mean, if the place doesn't have a physical address because you don't know where that is, you can actually drag this button to a specific location. And I don't know exactly what this project is, but I know it's in the northern region of Norway. So I'm just gonna assume it's in these mountains in the northern side. And so Revit is gonna try to collect information from the closest weather station. And this is based on information provided by municipalities. It's only relevant if you're doing analysis because it collects information about wind, rain, temperature, psychometric chart. So you can pick one of them. This is the list of the closest weather station. I'm going to pick one of them. And this is the important part. This is the location, the longitude and the latitude in the world, which determine the orientation and the location of the sun. And so I'm going to save this, hit OK. And now the projector is geolocated. Now I need to define a sun. Define the properties of the sun. And I can do that under the, I need to do that in a 3D view. So I'm going to switch to a 3D view. I'm going to disable this, this section box. And I'll bring back this element. All right, so I need to define sun properties. And the sun properties are available, is the third icon from the lower left. And then the shadows it's complementary to that. When you enable the sun path, you're going to click the sun settings. And the sun settings, it's a way to define for this particular view, what are the sun properties. And we can do a still image, and that's what we're going to do, and still image. And notice that it automatically geolocated to that place we define in the locations. You can use a specific sun, the solstice or the equinox, either the summer, winter, spring, or fall. Let's try the spring equinox. And then we also need to pick a date and a time. So maybe we switch to a different year because right now it's 2010. You can just type it as well. Let's do this for 2021, last year. And you pick a time of the day, 12 p.m. Maybe I'll go to 2 p.m. This is the northern hemisphere, so the sun goes down pretty quick. Okay, so it's March 2021 at 2 p.m. with this location, the location that we defined before. And something very important, let's save this definition. So we're going to give it a name. This is Norway spring equinox. So to save the location, just hit the first icon in the sun settings. And the sun settings are available under the sun controls and the view controls. All right. By saving it, I am making this definition available to other views. So I can always go to a section, an elevation, a floor plan, and the sun settings are, I can retrieve that and apply it to a different view. The sun settings are view specific. So if I apply it to this 3D view, it's only applicable to this 3D view. But by saving it, I'm making it available to you, to the users as well in other views. So I hit OK here. And you can enable the sun path. And that is, this is available under the sun control, sun path. And that is that description in 3D of where that's the Norway equinox. So the sun, it's lying towards the west. You can change the hour as well. I can always go back to the sun settings. And if I want the sun to go into the common spaces, maybe I want to do something that's more in the morning, maybe like 8 in the morning, or no, like 10 in the morning. So I'll go back into the sun settings because I want to edit the sun and say, I'm going to do this rather than 2 p.m. I'm going to do 10 a.m. And again, I save it, apply it. When I apply it, and then hit OK. The sun can be manipulated directly using the sun path. So you can just type on top of this and change the hour there. Or you can just drag the sun. But when you drag the sun, be careful because you can also change the date. You can also type the date directly here and change the sun. All right, so this sun looks okay. It's illuminated interior space, the interior common space. And now I'm going to go and create a camera view. Any question here? So I go to floor plan level 1, and I'm going to create a camera view. The camera view is somewhere standing in this corner, looking at the kitchen, looking at this direction. So to create a new camera view, you go to the View tab. And then under the 3D view, hit the camera tool and the floor plan. Then you place where the person is going to be standing. That is the first click. You also can change the default height of the eyes. This is 5'6" for an average person. We can increase or decrease from a specific level. So this is where the person is going to be standing towards this corner. And then you're going to open a camera view all the way down to capture the kitchen. And this is a rough view of the kitchen. The camera will be named 3D View 2. I can rename it to make it more obvious. This is a perspective kitchen. And I can swap this to realistic to get a sense of what the view look like. You also want to make sure that the sun setting, it's the appropriate one. So the sun settings, notice that right now it goes to the full lighting. Again, the sun is the sun setting is view specific. So in the 3D view, I need to go back to the sun settings, change this to still, and select the Norway spring equinox that I created in the 3D view. You can tweak the location. I mean, you can tweak the camera by bringing the navigation wheel. The navigation wheel is available in the right side in that vertical toolbar. When you hit the navigation wheel, it comes with this big bulky set of cursor associated commands. And these are ways to tweak your view. The one I like to use the most is this one called Look. Look is the equivalent of grabbing your camera and just change the direction of the view. So you can just hover over the lower left quarter where it says look, keep it pressed, and just slightly move it. And then you can refocus the target. So the person is standing in a fixed location. All he's doing is moving the camera, looking around. refocusing the target. You can also zoom, but I think the zoom factor looks good here. You can pan in, you can walk around. We're going to review more of these commands in the documentation portion of it. So to exit, just hit the X that's right next to the command. And you can also change the aperture of the camera just by grabbing these handles. And you can either include or exclude more information, but this is the equivalent of changing the millimeters of a camera. You know, the default is 35 millimeters. But if you increase the size of the viewpoint, then you're including more elements. I'm just gonna try to capture as much information as I can in the scene. I could place a person as well. So I can go back on level 1 and place an RPC family. RPC family stand for realistic photo content. And these are files that are proprietary of ArcVision. I don't know if any of you have worked with ArcVision in the past. ArcVision is a plugin for Revit that provides realistic photo content. And last year they released RCP 2.0, which is which has physically based material properties. And so Autodesk has it has a handful of RCP information. If you're interested, I can copy paste the link. But again, this is not content provided by Autodesk, but here's the link. But there you can buy a license, and then it will mount a plugin into Revit, and this content will be at your fingertips. You can just select it, drag it, and drop it into Revit directly. Where ArcVision has the proprietary rights of using RPCs. In Revit, we have some RPCs. You can insert them directly by loading a family. So in the Insert tab, you can load a family and navigate to the family library, which I think it's C, or I think I have it here. There's a shortcut here. Imperial Library. In the Imperial Library, under Entourage, there's an RPC female, RPC male, computer, and it's just a handful of them. I'm going to bring the RPC male, and to bring it into the project, go into the Entourage category. And there are different men and women. There's Alex, Dwayne, Jay, Cynthia, Lisa. I'm just gonna bring Alex right next to the kitchen, or in the kitchen. And maybe I bring, and then you need to prepare the scene with additional entourage. Maybe I bring Tina over here. And in the perspective, it will give you a look of that person. Although Tina looks very serious. Let's see if I swap it with Jin. Oh, that's funnier. Okay. So we add additional entourage. Entourage out of the box from Revit is not available as much as I wish we could, but you can purchase it in ArcVision. I think the license of ArcVision for a year is about $300 per seat. So I think it's worth it. Okay. And then you can add additional stuff like plates and additional chairs, etc. Once we have, so I took care of the lighting. I took care of the camera. The texture are already built into the surfaces as I needed to, and I can just render. So under the, you can rent the render tool. It's the fifth icon from the bottom, and you can select a different quality. The higher the quality, the longer it's going to take. You can select a resolution on the screen or a printed resolution. You can also select a different type of lighting. But if I click render here, then it's going to take some time to process. I highly recommend, rather than doing the desktop render, I encourage you to try the cloud rendering, because it moved the task away from Revit, and you can continue working on your documentation. The task is going to be processed by one of the Autodesk cloud rendering servers, which are very, very powerful. And it will take minutes instead of hours to process a very good quality image. And so under the, where is it? Under the Manage tab, under the View tab, there's a tool called Render in the Cloud. You just hit continue here. And when you render on the cloud, it's 4 steps, 4 settings. You pick the view that you want to render, and by default, it's going to pick the active 3D view. Then you select whether you want a still image, or you want a panorama, or a stereo panorama. A stereo panoramas and panoramas, it's 360-degree rendering. I recommend the stereo panoramas because they look awesome. Render quality, I'm just going to do standard, but if you want to take a little bit more, then you can use final. And then exposure, always make it advanced, because it allows you to manipulate the light in the rendering engine. And then this is the size in pixels. A very high quality will go up to 2046 pixels. I think 1024 is okay for this demo. And then you hit start rendering. Now, the beauty of the rendering on the cloud is that you can continue working and continue working in Revit. And you're going to see that right next to your name, there's this little circle spinning, which indicates the progress of the rendering. Once the rendering is completed, you're gonna receive a bubble notification with a link where you can open the render directly on the cloud, and then you can experience it or do some post-processing in the cloud. I am at the time right now. Let me show you the final one, because I already rendered this before. You can open your render gallery directly under the View tab. So render gallery is the third icon from the bottom here, and it opens your rendering space associated with your account. So in order to access this, it may ask you to log in using your Autodesk credentials. You have to use your login and password. This is the Mila that I created earlier today. This is, oh, you can see that it's getting processed, and it's going to take 6 minutes to finish. This is the one I did earlier, and this is completed. This is a 360-degree render. I don't see the kitchen because I hadn't modeled it yet. But the floor, it's a it's a high photorealistic one, and it looks pretty good. The lighting is bouncing as it needs to be. You can share this to others. I mean, this is an HTML that can be embedded in a website. You can send this to Oculus, or you can send this to the Oculus Rift, or the or any virtual reality hardware. You can also render a specific direction as an image. So I can convert it, rather than be a 3D render like it is right now, I can just convert it into an image, still image. And then this image can be re-rendered based on the settings, and I can download it later. And then I can adjust. Oh, the other one just finished, you see. So it took minutes rather than hours. If I had done this on the screen, it would have taken more time. Let me see if I can open this here. So the rendering consumes tokens, and obviously there are other engines that are as powerful as the cloud rendering, like V-Ray and Enscape, which actually a live rendering. And so it's unclear whether Autodesk know how we're gonna continue. If there's a question whether we will continue charging for additional tokens. Right now, a token costs $1, and you consume tokens based on the size of the image and the quality. But for basic rendering, standard, and the minimum size, you won't consume any credits. Let's see if I can open this one. So yeah, this is the last one. This is the geolocated one, and this is with Jinjin. I don't know why they turn around. In the preview, they were looking forward, or maybe it's the, yeah. Obviously, it would look much better if I had much more entourage inside, but this was the view that I chose to render, and I can tweak it as well using some post-processing. Here is some changes I can do, like I can change the location, I can change the sky model, the image size, and this is going to re-render in the cloud. And I can also download it as a zip file, and this could be sent to other devices. Or I can share it. If you want to open it, just direct your camera here, and you're going to get a link to this image. You can also share it via public link, copy to the clipboard, paste it into an email, and send it to your recipients. Okay, so that is cloud rendering. This is going to close the discussion of finishes. I believe one of the reasons this didn't work, the orientation didn't work in the cloud, has to do with this asset. Let me show you very quickly. RPCs are only displayed when you switch to realistic. But RPCs, and this is an ArcVision stuff, I can duplicate it and create new assets. I mean, this is a person called Alex, but I have all this plethora of different things that I can use out of the box which some of them are nice. The ones that says 3D steel, 3D steels, are legacy ones, and the ones that do not have 3D steels, they are RPCs, like version 2, like this Chevy Colorado pickup. Let me show you how that looks like. The quality of the rendering, it's super high. Like this is a photorealistic material. I mean, and this is not even rendered. This is just a realistic preview. And when you send this to the cloud, or when you render on the desktop, the quality of the light reflection is pretty good. You can see how just the light bouncing from the house, it's also reflected in the surface. So this is next generation of assets. And our vision just gave this for free. Again, you can edit the type and change this to a different things, like a Amazon van or an aircraft. There you go. The aircraft crashed with my site. Okay. So this is the end of the interior finishes. If you have more questions, let me know. I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for standing with me extra time. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. If you want to stay with me more minutes, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cesar.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
bye. Hey, Sabira,
Yeah, just a minute.
do you have a problem? Do you need?
So, no, you were showing that customized furniture, right? Customized furniture.
Say again, I didn't hear you there.
Customized furniture. Customized.
Oh, can I customize what?
The furniture you were want to show us, like cupboard or something. You said, right? You will show the customized furniture in the kitchen.
Yeah, so all these cabinets were brought. I look for them, and you can customize it. Yeah, you can create new types based on existing ones. You can change the width, the height. You can assign materials.
Okay.
And obviously we can create a completely new family from scratch. Like, I didn't have time to show you how to create this custom furniture in the back, but we're going to have 2 classes at the end of the course around creating custom families.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Cesar.
Yeah.
I get a little lost in the patterns area.
Yeah.
When I double clicked on it, the default one that you had in your drive, it didn't launch a text editor. It launched like a graphics program.
Oh, you know what?
So what I did was I opened it with I went to Notepad and opened it. Only problem is I couldn't save it as a PAT. It only let me save as a TXT. So how can I save it as a, what is it, a PLT? I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have renamed the file afterwards, but the easy way to do this is you select the file, right click on the file, and then hit open with Notepad.
Yeah, it wasn't an option, but I'll try next time.
Or if you are in Notepad, you can open it, file open. I think I have one here. There it is. And then file save as.
Uh-huh. Save as, okay. Oh, I see.
It's trying to save as a TXT file.
TXT, yeah.
Yeah, but just change this to all types.
All
And
type.
keep this. I'm gonna make this too. Save. And
And
notice
make sure,
notice the file. It doesn't force the file to receive the TXT extension.
gotcha. Okay, that's how you do it. All right.
Or at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you can save it at TXT and then go back
Uh-huh.
and rename it and remove the extension.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Cesar. I appreciate it. Okay.
Hey, Joel.
Yeah.
See you Tuesday.
Yeah, sure.
Have a good one.
All right, you too.